Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 94 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome to episode 94 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? I'm so glad that you could join us this week. If you've been here before, you guys know the routine. I say it every week, but I still love you deep. And I really appreciate you continuing to support. So thank you for coming back. That's the most important thing. So let's get started. Before we dive into this week's episode, I always like to make sure that I set a good foundation. We're building a safe space. And with that, I want to make sure that you understand that our safe space is built on the foundation of clarity and love. So clarity, it's pretty straightforward. I just want to make sure you understand why you're here. The Well Done Life podcast is a podcast that is for women. I created this space because I wanted women to come together and be able to share the good, the bad, the ugly parts of our journey so that we can help each other learn and grow. I really do believe we need more opportunities to connect as women. I mean, we are the foundations of society. So we need an opportunity to be able to feed into each other. I really believe that we give each other power when we share our stories, the great things and the vulnerable things, because we're trying to help people avoid pitfalls. We're trying to change lives and inspire people to do their best. So that's what this is about. So now you know what clarity is all about here. Let's talk about one of my favorite things. Let's talk about love, because love is a thing. And everything that we're going to do here is rooted in love. And since that is the root of what we do here, I always like to make sure that I start every week off with prayers. It is so important to me to pray for you and to let you know that you are prayed for, because I'm believing that you're praying for me and for other people as well. So this week, I want to make sure that I send each of you prayers of peace. I want to send you prayers of prosperity. I want to send you prayers of love. You know, I love love. So I want you wrapped in love. I want you covered from love from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And then also, I want to send you prayers of health, mental and physical. I know that, Omicron variant and all these things are going on still. So I hope that you're out there being safe and taking care of yourself and protecting yourself and the ones that you love. And like I said, mental health is really important. So I want to make sure that you are giving yourself time. I am praying that you have time to actually sit down and rest, that you are giving yourself time to let go of anything that may be bothering you. I want you to be at peace in your mind and your spirit, because we need you. And we need you to be foundationally strong on all levels. So the heart, the soul, the mind, the body, they all have to be as one. So I am praying all of those things for you. So now that we've, like I said, set the intention and build the space on clarity and love, let's start to kind of make our way into this week's episode. I'm recording a little late. That seems like there's going to be like my theme right now. I don't know why, but I'm recording on Wednesday, January 19th at 8:30 p.m. It's just been a busy week. Definitely not a bad thing. Just lots of stuff going on, and it's a great thing. I'm sure you guys are feeling the same thing. It's like the start to 2022 has been very fast paced. In spite of all the craziness going on in the world, it has just been so fast paced. So I've been super busy, but I'm so glad, like I said, to be here. Talking with you. Last week, we talked a lot about grace and accountability in episode 94. And I really hope that it gave you a sense, or I'm sorry, episode 93. See, already getting ahead of myself. This is episode 94, Pam. So sorry about that. Episode 93. We talked about grace and accountability and giving yourself grace to rest and holding yourself accountable so that you are giving yourself that space of rest. And, that kind of has had me thinking for the past couple of days, and past couple of weeks as well, because it seems like it just keeps coming back in different ways to me, this message. So I wanted to share it to you because it came back to me today. And as I sat and thought about how I wanted to set up the podcast tonight, I was like, I think this message is right on time for each of us, because even though it is the start of the year, it has been very fast paced. We have a lot of different things going on. We're seeing a lot of different losses, and it can really mess with your mindset. I want to make sure that you don't forget that you should never count yourself out. And when I say count yourself out, I mean, don't give up on what you are believing for. Don't give up on you. And I know that you're probably thinking, wow, why are we kind of talking about this? It's just the beginning of the year. Like I said, it's been a very fast-paced year. We've seen a lot of things happen with the variants, and it's very stressful with the economy. And we're seeing, unfortunately, a lot of people who have, their journey has ended and they're leaving, and we're experiencing loss. And it's tough, and it plays with you emotionally. And it can get hard just going through the motions of everyday life, trying to be positive, trying to stay on top of your goals and advance yourself, that sometimes you can find yourself thinking, is this really ever going to happen for me? Am I really doing am I doing this at the right time? Because remember, like we've talked about in other podcasts before, there's a lot of times that we pull ourselves out of the game versus the game pulling us to the side. And because, we're afraid, we're operating in fear. So I felt like compelled that I wanted to make sure that I shared this message of, don't count yourself out of the game, because don't let what the world tell you, what the world show you, make you stop believing in who you are and what you are capable of. I mean, we are doing the work foundationally. We talked a lot before in reference to setting the intentions and making a plan, a setup for yourself, and all those things. And those are important. Holding yourself accountable to being able to execute that plan and giving yourself grace when things don't work out. Well, I kind of feel like this week's episode is like a part 2 to giving yourself grace when things don't work out, because, we need these moments where we sit down and think about what we've been able to accomplish up until this point, and why it is so important that right now that we do not count ourselves out of the game. And personally for myself, it really has been resonating with me lately, because I've kind of told you guys, I've been working on some projects for the podcast and some things that I want to get live very soon. And it's really been a labor of love. Some of it has been just the circumstances of time and life. And a lot of it, though, has been me, just kind of slowing down, getting in my head, and allowing fear to slow down my trajectory. And like I think I remember, I talked a little bit more about it, I believe, like right before Christmas, where, yes, when I was saying that I had to, one of the necessary goodbyes that I had to let go of was my fear, of overthinking. And when I was sitting down and thinking about the things that I want to let go of and my fear of overthinking, that really resonated in me, because like I've said before, I am my harshest critic. I am the one who will slow things down. And it really is a fear-driven thing. And how this year I really made the intention and the promise to myself that I'm not going to operate that way. And so this year, as I'm seeing things come to pass, old habits die hard. Old feelings don't go away. And sometimes you feel those pull and inside of yourself, like, is this really my time? And I had to check myself and remember, why am I counting myself out of the game? I've been doing the work to build this project. I've been staying consistent where I can. I've addressed the fact of my inconsistency. This is my time. So why am I checking myself out of the game? And I think a lot of times, we're not taking those moments to sit down and check ourselves about why, we're not taking ourselves out of the game. We do the journaling of the intentions and all of those great things. But I mean, really sitting down and having an honest conversation with yourself and addressing the fact of what you are doing versus what you say you're doing is a totally different thing that a lot of us don't do. And so if we don't really have those real conversations, it can allow you, unfortunately, to check yourself out of the game, because then you allow fear and your insecurities to creep in, and it just puts the brakes on right then on what you want to accomplish. And so this year, since we're treating this year so differently and trying to be so much more intentional, I feel like when moments like that come up, we have to talk about it. And when moments come up like that, that means we need to have sessions like this where we realize that we might be doing some things that are checking ourselves out of the game. And you know what? We need to come together as a family and check back in. So this is our family's check back in. And I know that I don't know personally what you are going through, but I am a firm believer that all things happen for a reason. And if you are listening to this podcast right now, I can tell you that there is something that you are putting the brakes on that you need to push the gas pedal about. And let me say that again. If you are listening to this podcast because all things working, all things intentional, I can tell you right now that there is something probably that you are putting the brakes on in your life that you need to push the gas pedal on. And I'm not saying push it all the way to the floor. You don't have to go out like this is on the Autobahn and just go all the way in. But you need to start putting your foot on the gas and moving yourself forward to being able to help you get to your specified goal. And again, this is all about intention. This is all about timing. And I know that this message wouldn't be laid on me this way if it wasn't for me as well. Because like I said, I have areas of my life that I need to work on, that I am working on, where I have to push the gas pedal more and not put the brakes on. So believe me, we're totally in this together. But I wanted us to have like a real honest conversation, because we can't check ourselves out of the game when we are so close to getting the blessing. It's so funny, as I was thinking about this episode 2, and as we're talking right now, I'm actually thinking of, if you've never seen this movie, check it out, but it's really good anyway, and it has one of my favorite actors in it, Idris Elba. But it's a Tyler Perry movie called Daddy's Little Girls, and essentially it's about this father. Unfortunately, he was wrongly convicted of a crime in his youth, and it really changed the trajectory of his life. He wound up trying to pursue sole custody of his 3 daughters. He fell in love with this upwardly mobile woman, and he's just trying to figure it out. And he was at the same time looking at how he can do better in his life and really set up a stable household for his daughters. So he was at the point where he wanted to buy a garage. And one day he is in church, and like the weight of the world is on his shoulders. The children's mother had taken him to court and made all these accusations that were impeding him with his custody. I mean, he lost his girlfriend. They had a disagreement, and it's just like the weight of the world was right on his shoulders. And the pastor in the movie, when he was in church, said to him that, when it feels like you are getting so close to your breakthrough, it can feel like you are about to faint. It can feel like you are about to pass out. Like it's just like the weight of the world is on you. The weight of everything is coming at you, and you feel like you are about to die. But if anything that in that moment that you should do is that you should keep persevering, that you should keep going, because you are close to your breakthrough. And that has always stuck with me, because a lot of times that's when we instantly start to tap out. It's like when the world starts to press on us, we just say, oh no, let me go ahead and pump this brake a little bit because I'm not ready for the pressure. And when in instances like that, we actually should be trying to focus more on going through. But again, our fears, our feelings, our natural mind, it can get in the way of that, and it can stop us from being able to go to the next level. And so when I thought about this episode about us not counting up ourselves out of the game, that instantly came to me, because I'm like, that is so true. It's like right now we have so many things going on. I mean, we all knew going into 2022 was going to be different. We did. I mean, and when I say different, I'm not saying that it was going to be like, we're through with everything with the pandemic. Life is going back to normal. No, I mean, we were seeing the signs that things were going to be challenging. But I think we all went in hopeful, and, we're all trying to get used to where we are. But it's like now you're trying to get used to it, but you can't get used to it because it's like you're fighting a whole new situation. I mean, now you're seeing where there's not a lot of testing equipment. You're seeing people trying to find masks. You're seeing people being hit by, rising prices, and people not being able to find work, even though, yes, they say that there's tons of jobs out here. Not everybody's able to find a job, or people who are struggling in their current job and they want to leave and trying to figure out how did they make this change right right now when everything is looking so topsy-turvy. And that is a lot of the reason and timing when people would naturally just pump the brakes and maybe check out of the game a little bit. But I'm here to say that, you know what, guys, we have to keep checking in. We do. We have to keep going, because if it's not now, when are we going to keep going? I mean, really, when are we going to keep going if it's not right now? I would love to say that many of us have the luxury of just sitting on the sidelines for a little bit, seeing how things shake out before we continue on with our plans. But none of us are getting any younger. And unfortunately, as we are seeing with all the loss, it teaches you the lesson to value the time that you have, because death doesn't have an age requirement. We're seeing people, unfortunately, leaving us very young, as well as, older, and they have lived a fruitful life. But we're seeing a lot of people younger and younger and younger whose journey has come to an end. And none of us know when our time is really set to be the appointed hour. So we all have to look at the opportunity, the time that we're getting, as special. And we have to treat that time as such. And then along that line, you have to treat the vision that you have for yourself, the goal, the pull that is within you to do certain things as special, because everybody didn't get the assignment that you got. Your gifting is special to you. So why would you doubt the timing of when that gifting should come to pass? Like I've talked about before, there are times where your gifting could be delayed, and it could be delayed because of your fear. Let's just be full transparency, putting it back to ourselves. It could be delayed to our fears, because of our fears. It could be delayed because of timing. It's just not the right time. But the delays are not denials. And when we are pumping the brakes and sitting back, a lot of times we treat those delays like they are denials, and we stay stuck in that denial. And remember what we talked about previously in other episodes. We are at this point now where we have to be uncomfortable being mediocre, because that's what happens when you keep pumping the brake on your vision, when you keep pumping the brake on that pull inside of you. You get comfortable with mediocrity. And and let me be frank, mediocrity is cool. I've been mediocre before. I've lived in mediocrity for quite some time. And I can tell you, I thrived in mediocrity. I still was blessed. I still was able to pay the bills. I was still able to see the world some. I was doing great things. But at the same time, that wasn't all there was for me. And I knew that. But I got comfortable being comfortable and not taking the chance on myself, not pulling on myself the way that I know that I needed to, so that I could expand myself. And it was safety in mediocrity. But there comes a point in time where you have to get uncomfortable with mediocrity. And if I would say anything, these last few years, especially these COVID-19 years, has taught me is I am very uncomfortable with mediocrity. It has taught me that there is time for me to live, or that it is time for me to live the life that I was called to live, to pursue the dreams that are inside of me and that keep pulling on me. And it doesn't mean I have to go all in today. It just means that I need to get into that front seat of the car, drive it a little bit faster, put the gas down a little bit more, and start taking the steps to do what I need to do. And that's something that each of us can do. Right now, we can start to push that gas pedal a little bit more. And that's going to look very different for each and every one of us, because for me, one thing in particular that I am doing this year is I am acquiring, I have 2 certifications that I want to take. I mentioned before, I work in a corporate space, and one thing that I have decided is that I wanted to expand my knowledge, because the field that I'm in, I have been in this field now for 14 years. And it's not to say that I plan on leaving the field. I don't know. But I also do know that I want to expand my knowledge. After being someplace for 14 years, there's only so much that you can learn within these walls of 14 years. And I used to be very active in a lot of different conferences and I would go to conferences, in person, doing a lot of online seminars to continue to learn industry skills. And by trade, I am a digital marketer. I'm actually a digital marketing strategist. And so for me, the digital space is always advancing. And so I want to make sure that I stay on top of it. And so I am currently on top of everything else doing an analytics certification because I love data. I do. I like Excel spreadsheets, believe it or not. And so I want to improve my analytics skills. So I'm going to get certified in data analytics, which I'm really excited about. So I'm working on that certification actually right now. And after I finish recording this episode, I will be spending an hour and a half on one of my courses toward my certification because that is my commitment. I'm taking this time to get this done because I really do want to apply the skill set more and keep myself sharp. And at the same time, I have another certification that I'm looking at getting right behind it. I've decided this year is the year that I'm going to invest in myself. And that's just one of the things that I'm doing. But it is something that I have committed to financially as well as with my time and my energy. And I'm really excited. I love it. I'm learning. That's where I thrive. And some days I feel overwhelmed because I literally today went to work, had my calls, did everything, picked up my sister from work, took her to work, cooked dinner, came home, I'm recording a podcast, and then I'm going to spend some more of my night doing more certification stuff, as well as I will end my night doing my routine. So it can sound a little overwhelming. It can feel a little overwhelming. And, sometimes I feel like, am I really going to do this? But then I have to remind myself, remember, I am uncomfortable being mediocre. So in order for me to change that, I have to move through any kind of doubts and fears that I have and keep going. I will give myself rest when I need rest, but right now I need to keep going. So because remember, I haven't counted myself out of the game. So I say all of that to say to you that it's possible. It is possible. It's just all about, are we willing to prioritize the possibilities in order to change our lives? Because that's really what this is about. Because we all know that when we tap into that sides of ourselves that we feel the pull, the desire to be different, to do different things, that's where our joy resides. That's where our curiosity resides. That's where our strength resides. That's where our purpose resides. And when you tap into those things, the time that you spend doing the prep work to get there, it just seems like joy. It just seems like happiness because it's giving you that energy to keep going. Remember, we talked about the battery in your back. It's essentially you're putting a battery in your back. So why would you not do it? But at the same time, life is still going to life. Things are still going to come up. It's just remembering to say to yourself, to speak life over you the same way that you might be speaking life over your family or your friends, to remind yourself, don't count yourself out of the game. Because this is your time. Because like I started to say earlier, if it's not now, when is there going to be a good time? I mean, are we going to wait until we get older? I mean, you can wait until you get older. I saw a post today on social media about a young lady. She's 80 years old and she just graduated with college with a 3.69 GPA. So there's always going to be time as long as there's breath in your body and you are capable of pursuing it. So there's always time. But if there's something that is on you right now that you have the ability to take steps toward accomplishing it, then why not now? And I think that's the thing that we constantly need to kind of keep in the front of our minds as we start to doubt, as we start to get caught up in the fears of cycles of life. Why not now? Because like we said, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. And why shouldn't you have all of the things right now? because you deserve them. You are worthy of them. And I have to say that because I think a lot of times too, we get so caught up in taking care of other people, living our lives, being the best people that we can, that we forget that we are worthy of great things. The same way that we feel that we are worthy of nice clothes and great relationships and all these wonderful things, we are worthy of investing time, energy, money, resources, whatever it will be for you to pursue your dream. Because what that dream is, like I said, it's unique, it's individual to you. There is something in you that is going to change the world. I truly believe that. As I've said it before, I feel like each of us is born with a unique purpose, and each of us has an opportunity to heal one of the issues of this world if we step into it. And not stepping into it does not create judgment. It does not mean that you are not going to win. You are still going to win. You are still going to live. But for those of us that decide, you know what, I am trying to step into my purpose. I'm trying to step into who I am and what I was called to do. There's a greater pull on our lives. So we will have even more challenges. We will have even more adversity because we're trying to do something for the common good. But when you step into your good, when you step into that purpose and you allow your energy to shine and to be able to do all the things that you were called to do, you illuminate the world. You do something magical. Why would you not want to do that? You know how that's going to feel. I mean, that's the definition of joy. Something that radiates from your soul, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and just pushes its way out. We all deserve that. And we need to step into these times to have it. Because like I said, tomorrow's not promised to you. And I don't want anybody else or wasting time when we could be living on our purpose. And I know, again, that looks like a really different thing. It's funny. I was talking to my sister about, this episode and what I wanted to talk about today. And one of the things that kind of got us laughing is like, I was telling her, I said, I'm not telling people to go out here and quit your job tomorrow and be a rapper. Like, please do not become a 40-year-old rapper. We're not trying to do that. Not unless you're hard. Like, if you are like a super hard rapper and you have skills, go for it. But if your lines are a little soft, you might need to sit on the sidelines. And I just wanted to say that because, sometimes people will misconstrue what it means to go out here and pursue your dreams. Like, we're not talking about the weird, crazy dreams. I'm not trying to stop anyone's creative shine, but come on, let's be realistic. How many 40-year-old rappers do you know making it? But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you may not be able to be a 40-year-old actor. I mean, if you want to be an actor, you're really good, then start putting yourself out here, get some plays. I mean, I know right now COVID kind of has those things kind of, a little bit on lock. But that's not going to be that way forever. I mean, go out here and do it. Don't ever let someone stop that. And you know what? Now that I even say that, maybe you could be a 40-year-old rapper. It's funny. I'm thinking about right now, actually, Black Panther. When that movie came out, one of the women who was in the movie, she was for the Border Tribe. She was, I think, in her 70s. That was her first acting role. Her first role. I mean, what kind of come up is that? You go from just probably chilling out, living your best life till all of a sudden you're in Black Panther. So she took a chance, obviously, on herself, and she went out there and look what that happened. If it's for you, it's for you. And I know that might sound a little far reaching, but I wanted to make sure that I at least give you guys tangible examples to show you that it's possible. It's just all about deciding what you want to accomplish and going out there and doing it and not letting the world or lifing slow you down. Just hit that gas a little bit, put your foot on the gas. So that, like I said, don't floor it. We don't need you to go all out there, but start making the moves. Or if you are at that point where you're like, you know what, I'm ready to go all in. I was speaking with a wonderful friend of mine today, and I will be sharing that episode on the podcast in February. I'm really excited about it. He went all in. And yes, I did say he will be the first male, kind of as a teaser on the Well Done Life. So I'm very excited to share him with you. He went all in to pursue his dream. All in. And 10 years later, he's thriving. So again, it's all about you making those decisions within your timing to do it. And I'm not here to tell anyone what to do. Like I said, I'm not telling you to go all off the rails. It's all about figuring out the timing that works for you. But the one thing that I am telling you, if you don't get anything else from anything I have said today, the one thing I want to make sure that you get from this conversation right now is that I do not want you to take yourself out of the game. And yes, like I said, I know it's early in the year, but let's have some real conversations. We've already talked about it. I've seen people on the internet talking about they're tired of 2022 already. Today is the 19th. You're only 19 days in. That's crazy. By the time you guys hear this, you'll be 23 days in. In 23 days, you should not be through with 365 overall days. You should be ready to say, you know what? I need to maybe dial it up a little bit, check myself a little bit, but I'm not going to take myself out of the game. You can't do it because we need you. We need you. And I want to make sure that I feed into you to let you know we're in this together. Don't let fear stop your blessing. Don't let the world stop your blessing. If it's for you, start taking those steps every day, whatever that may look like, to help you stay in the game. Because I am pulling for you. I am believing for you, and we need you. So please, please, please don't take yourself out of the game. And I know that can be tricky. Not every day or days or conversations like this, but be your own cheerleader. You know, we talked about that before. It's like you sometimes have to give yourself a highlight reel of the things that you're able to accomplish. No matter how small, every success should be celebrated. And if you make a mistake, learn from your mistake and move on from it. Free yourself from the mistake. Talk to yourself about it. Give yourself closure, because only you can give yourself closure in any situation that you deal with. But don't hold on to things that will prevent you from going to the next level. Give yourself that closure and that encouragement to realize that you are still in this because this is your time. Make sure that you are doing that right now. That's like the greatest thing that I could tell someone to do, is to make sure that you are speaking over all of the things that you do, the accomplishments that you have, no matter how small, and forgiving yourselves for the missteps and learning from them and keep going. It's really that simple. And make sure that you are surrounding yourself. You know, we talk about it all the time, that with people and content that will feed into you. Give yourself a break sometimes for some of the news of the world, because it can be a little tricky. You know, give yourself that opportunity to just kind of shut it down and focus on what you want to focus on, what you need to focus on for a little bit. Believe me, the craziness will unfortunately still be there when you're ready to dial back in. And you're probably not going to miss anything because there's enough social media going around that you just can't miss it. It's constantly serving you or being served to you. So give yourself that self-imposed time to do that. And make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who speak life into you. Don't, if it weighs too much, if it costs too much, if it feels too tough, if it just doesn't make you feel the way that you want to feel, then don't do it. If it's a text message, I don't care. It could be a text message, email, smoke signal, whatever it is. If it doesn't align with your energy that day, put it on, leave it on red and keep going. They'll be okay. They will be okay. Because right now you are in a very crucial time. You are in the time of becoming. You are in the time of cultivating. You are in the time of building. And not everyone can go into the birthing chamber with you. When I say that, that means not everybody can be in the trenches while you are building the dream, while you are manifesting it, while you are working on it. And that's just real conversation. So you have to make selective choices in order to make sure that the energy is right, because this vision, this that you're bringing in is very special. And you need to make sure everything around it is cultivated from a place of love and support and encouragement. You have that choice. Exercise it, because remember, you cannot count yourself out of the game. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I kind of was hoping that this was like my cheerlead, moment to you, to me, to help us both remind you and for me to remember that we can't count ourselves out. That this is what we have to do. We have to stay engaged. I want to make sure that you stay engaged. Don't count yourself out the game just yet. You have so much further to go. We have so much further to go. We are going to do epically amazing things. So I really hope that it gives you a nice little battery in the bag, send you off this week feeling good about yourself, because believe me, I want you to. I want you to know that you are so supported. I want you to know that you are so believed in. I believe that everyone is going to accomplish some amazing things. Just be patient with yourself, but don't stall yourself out. Don't take yourself out of it. Keep working on it. Keep manifesting. Keep building. You are birthing something wonderful. Do the work and it will come to pass greatly. So I want to thank you guys for your time this week. I know it's a little bit of a shorter episode, but I promise I'll be back next week. I am so excited. Like I said, I kind of gave you a preview. I had a great intentional interview on my lunch hour today. See, found time to get it in with a gentleman who's going to be on the podcast in February. I really have some good things planned because it is our second anniversary, as well as the fact that I am turning 49, and I am really excited about turning 49. This is my last year before the big 5-0, so I plan on going out super strong before we hit that next level. So that is one of the other reasons why I'm so passionate about us building and staying in the game this year, because we are cultivating some amazing things, and I want you along the journey with me. So I cannot wait to share all of that with you. Like I said, I'll be back next week. I'm going to leave links in the show notes for the episodes that I referenced, as well as I will definitely leave those tips, even though probably wasn't too many, but I want to make sure that I kind of give you something to go back to, just in case you need a reference point. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love your support. I really appreciate you guys for all that you do, for always rocking with me and either emailing me or DMing me or texting me or calling me. For my friends who know my number, sorry, I should preface that, who give me feedback on the episodes. I just want to thank you all for your support. I promise you, this truly does come from a place inside of my heart and my soul. So it is truly wrapped in loving each and every one of you. So I want to thank y'all. All my information will be in the show notes. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.